Well, hello everyone and welcome into another Simple Truth. I am Brother Jermaine for the Saints and Jermaine for YouTubers and anyone out there who follows the Simple Truth on Team Empowerment. But this is a special episode of the Simple Truth, and it's what we like to call Saints Speak. And I'm broadcasting live from G.O.T.S 2012. It's been a wonderful time. I've had many interviews with many of the Saints, but I am blessed, honored, and pleased to have with me on Saints Speak none other than Brother Frank from up in Washington State, that is. And many of the Saints who listen to Blog Talk, as soon as we get to talking, you'll recognize Brother Frank right away. He has that wonderful broadcasting voice, and he keeps telling us stop. But we're so excited to have him. Brother Frank, I want to thank you for taking out some time and being with us here on The Simple Truth, i.e. Saints Speak. Tell the Saints a little bit about yourself. Just, tell them who you are.
Okay. Hello. What tell you about myself? Man, there's not much to tell. I'm a happy husband.
Okay.
Happy father.
All right.
Been married to my wife for about 18 years now.
Okay.
Since high school. Officially married about 7 years ago, but she is my one and only.
Okay.
My daughter's still a toddler. Love her to death, and I'm happy to be part of the Straightway Truth Ministry.
That sounds like a winner. Now, another question I love to ask the Saints is what brought you to the truth? I mean, what got you here, so to speak?
What got me here? Well, I believe it was the Father's will that got me here.
Okay.
In terms of what was the procession of what has happened.
Yeah.
How did I get introduced to?
Yeah. Well, how do you get introduced to the truth? We'll get to Pastor Dow in a minute, but what enlightened you? What turned that light on for you for truth?
I don't know if I have been enlightened to truth, to be honest,
okay.
Brother Jermaine. If you're talking about like preparedness or...
Well, no, what I mean, Brother Frank, when I say that is like, we've lived a certain life and done a certain thing,
mm-hmm.
okay? And we've become comfortable in that.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you come this way, as far as, following the commandments and doing what's necessary, you're awakened to something that you weren't really used to doing before. And so what was it that, caused you to basically end up to be here, to visit Straightway, and what inspired that?
Well, so you cannot separate, for me,
mm-hmm.
you cannot separate that from Pastor Dow.
Okay.
So you kind of try to bifurcate that, and it's actually one and the same thing.
Okay, well then that leads me to my next question. Okay. That question might help you answer this question. What was your first impression of Pastor Dow?
My first impression of Pastor Dow was, I don't want to say it was negative. I don't want to necessarily say it was positive. I just remember that there's this guy on YouTube.
Okay.
That I had stumbled upon him researching silver.
Okay.
I was kind of reading Robert Kiyosaki at the time, who was the Rich Dad
Rich Dad Poor Dad guy. Yeah.
And he started talking about silver, and it led. I saw Pastor in one of the sidebars, and I clicked on him, and here's this guy rocking back in his chair. He's going, "This is a real AR-15."
Oh,
and
the AR-15.
And I'm a pastor, and I was like, "What?
Yeah.
Who? What?
Yeah.
He's a pastor." I mean, it never. You never hear anybody. No,
right.
You never hear a pastor.
That's not the norm.
Talk like that.
Right. Absolutely.
So that's kind of how it happened, and I clicked on a few more of his videos. I don't think it was any more than 2 or 3 before I was immediately going back at the very beginning.
Okay.
The very beginning of his archives, and I just watched it all the way through. And a lot of his preparedness, silver, social, economic, political. Yeah, that interests me.
Right.
Right. But it was really the earlier videos where it was about the preaching, about the levels in the kingdom, Jezebel,
okay.
Leviathan.
Yeah.
His preaching is really what kept me engaged. It wasn't so much the silver, and not that there's anything wrong with that. And
right.
Obviously, we need to know about that stuff, but it really was the the preaching that kind of hit me here and kept me engaged on pastor.
Okay. Well, okay, now that you have, number one, you've been involved with Straightway from afar,
Mm-hmm.
and you've had the opportunity to travel all the way from Washington here
Mm-hmm.
to Tennessee
Mm-hmm.
to be here, face to face, physical, here.
Mm-hmm.
And what has that done? I mean, how I'm not, I don't want to sound like a shrink, but how does that make you feel? What has it done for you?
Well, Brother Jermaine, what it has done for me, other than meeting my brothers and sisters.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. Wonderful,
Right.
Dad.
Right, and being able to look in those eyes of our pastor and try to understand what he's thinking and what he's discerning. The biggest thing it's done for me really is just to kind of watch the elders and the brothers that have been around a long time, how they operate, how they handle situations, how they handle themselves, how they carry themselves.
Okay.
As men of the Most High.
Okay.
Because to me, as far as I'm concerned, that is the most important thing in my life right now is how to duplicate the example that I see.
So this was a living, breathing how-to video for
Yes,
you,
sir.
basically.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and so, with that said, there are many saints out there that that were at one time, maybe peeping in here and there on Pastor Dow for social, economic, political, and the silver situation, but they're now starting to get to that point where they need that heart check, and it's coming to them. What would you say to encourage them to, from what you've experienced thus far, about, what this ministry, what Straightway is all about? And that kind of piggybacks on a double, basically you can surmise all of that to, how does it feel to you, to be a part of the Straightway family?
Well, I feel extremely blessed that I have been led here. Extremely blessed, extremely grateful to the Most High. Without, again, the political, economic, social issues aside, without the example that I've seen in Pastor, I don't know. I'd still be living in wickedness.
Okay.
I mean that's the truth. That's the truth of the matter. Just wickedness.
Oh, man.
It just my house is being healed. Well, first of all, my relationship with the Most High is being healed.
Okay.
My household is being restored. My
Oh.
relationship with my wife is being restored.
Glory.
And without the example, to me, watching Pastor, and this is just the way I kind of think about it,
Mm-hmm.
watching Pastor or Elder Becker or Brother Shane, it's like mathematics to me. There's a lot of people have problems with math, coming up through high school or whatever.
Right.
I never had a problem with it because to me it was always just, they give you the pattern, you just follow the pattern.
Oh, man.
Algebra, it's just a pattern, and that's what I'm seeing here. Okay, how are they doing things, and that's how I need to replicate the pattern. The only difference is the war in your mind.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
That's something that you can't see with the eyes. I can't see that with Pastor. I can't see that with the elders and the brothers that have been around, the faithful brothers that have been around.
Right.
But just their actions and just their speech does give insight into that to some degree.
There it is. Well, Brother Frank, I wanted to thank you. I mean, I know this was impromptu. I grabbed him. I just told him I needed him, and he came. And, it's always a pleasure to be able to talk with the saints. Pleasure to meet my brothers in the Most High, man. It's just wonderful.
Likewise, brother.
And saints, I tell you with the simple truth that on this matter, the simple truth of it is the fact that you got to be able to learn to follow a good example. And when we say follow a good example, Pastor Dow is just setting the example of how to follow the example
Hallelujah.
of the Most High. Pastor Joe Fox, people like Brother Frank, people like myself, people like Zach with New to Torah, and the various sisters, different people who've been interviewed here on Saint Speak. It's all about following the path, following what has been laid out, the pattern that's been laid out. And I want to end this episode of Saint Speak as part of the simple truth. And as I always tell you, the simple things are oftentimes the most profound, but yet they're the most difficult to put into practice and to actually do. I want to thank you, and I'll see you and you real soon.